Hello and welcome to the Infinity Saga and Beyond an MCU fan podcast. My name is Jordan. I'm with Ron still here. We just talked that Variety article as an emergency pod, the episode before this, but now we're going to dive into Spider-Man 2, the Insomniac video game, PS5 exclusive. So I guess let's just dive in and talk about this, about our initial thoughts, like our first impressions when we were playing this game, because I fell in love with this right away. I did exactly what I did 5 years ago. I took the day off work, played it for most of the day. I probably beat it faster in the first game, actually. I know people are talking about how long it takes for this one, but actually it's stuff I had to do on Saturday, so I couldn't be playing all day. But like last time, I just played like Friday straight through pretty much, and then woke up Saturday morning and played it for Spider-Man 1, and it was great.
Mhm.
And I kind of did something similar for Miles. But yeah, so I fell in love with this game immediately. I think the traversal is steps above. Web wings are great. Web slinging's faster. It's going to be hard to go back to Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales in that regard. And the combat, I think the combat is actually better in this one too. Using the gadgets without it like slowing down is awesome.
Yes. No, I agree. It's the combat was also to me markedly more difficult. Like in comparison to the amazing mode on one compared to the amazing mode on two, in like that kind of way. Like I felt like this one was markedly more difficult, but also gave you so much more stuff to use that it balanced out perfectly with all the gadgets and stuff, and the just all the venom powers and just all that, dude. It was tremendous, and I'll let you continue on your sort of opening thoughts because I don't want to hijack your thing there. But the combat in particular, yes, it was streets above, as my community fans would recognize. Or the streets ahead.
Streets ahead. Yep.
Streets ahead. My bad. Oh God. Oh.
It's all right. We just got to bear down here for this.
Bear down.
That's my favorite bit, and it comes from like one of the worst seasons of Community. But
that was the Amazon season, wasn't it, or the Yahoo season?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was season 5 or 6. I can't remember. But yeah, so no, I really enjoyed this game. I think first impression wise, I love what they did with the story too. The boss fights were fun as much as I wanted to throw my goddamn controller at the screen sometimes when I'd fail some. It was fun. It was challenging. I had this weird relationship with the first one. I don't know what difficulty I played on the PS4. On the remaster, last I checked, I'm on like Friendly Neighborhood, the middle one, not like the easiest one. They do like Friendly Neighborhood something, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man or something. I don't know what it is, but it's like two Friendly Neighborhood ones. Then Amazing, then whatever. This, it just started me on Amazing. I just played it through that. And even though I was frustrated at times, I just kept with the boss battles. I'd figure out the way to beat them. I think on the remaster, I started off on Amazing, did all of that, and the DLC is harder for me.
Yeah,
like when I get to the DLC on the first one, is harder. I had to bump it down because I was getting my ass kicked by the damn Sable people.
Yeah.
This one, I was able to keep on Amazing the whole way, and I felt like I actually earned it. I felt like I actually earned beating this game, and beating all the side stuff. And I got the platinum, which I don't even have for the first one right now. So my plan is to go back and do that. But this game, first impression wise, I have this as my game of the year. Right, like this, it was between Jedi Survivor and this going into it. And once I played this, I said I had more fun with this, as much as I love Jedi Survivor. But this game, Spider-Man's my favorite fictional hero. Like, it's everything I wanted it to be. And then the story was very strong in my, I think anyway. I know some people have kind of complained about the last act or whatever, but for me, I love the way it went. And yeah, so we'll just kind of end my first thoughts there.
Yeah, dude, I echo a lot of what you said, and I'll try not to repeat any points here, but it was tremendous. They had a really tough job to do in following the first game, and not only did they do that, I think they blew it out of the water. Everything was tremendous. The story was great. It kind of kicks you in the mouth right from the rip, and we'll get into that opening scene with the Sandman as we kind of go forward here. But even the slower kind of story moments just felt like so meaningful, like the one of Peter in May in his room in the beginning,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
like like all of that stuff. It felt just like so Spider-Man. Like there's my expert analysis right there. It felt so Spider-Man, but it really did. And like the sort of world building stuff got much bigger in this one. You know, we saw the Baxter building, all the Daredevil stuff that they're saying now. Stay tuned because like who knows? Maybe we see like Daredevil stuff like start popping up in the third game. That would be freaking awesome. But just everything about it was so good. The connective tissue to the first one, how it felt like a true continuation. It was I don't like you said. As a Spider-Man fan, it was everything that I could have possibly asked for. There isn't like one thing that I look at after playing that game and think like, oh, I wish I would have added that. They did so many cool things in the way that they sort of like they did in the first one, rather than just being inspired by like one comic story that you play through. They just take these aspects of all these different ones, and like the King in Black references in this one were so heavy with all the Venom stuff, to the point where I'm here thinking like, are we getting Null in the third game? Like it was awesome, like truly awesome. I can't wait to play through it again. And I don't have enough good things to say about it, and I will say many more of them as we continue. Oh, I gotta get some nose spray going. Don't mind me.
Yeah, something I was gonna say. I know that we talked about offline before of um, the way I feel about this Insomniac version of Spider-Man. I'm not sure if I've said it on the show before or not because I didn't start the show till after the game came out, the first game. This might be a hot take. This is my favorite interpretation of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Mine too.
I
Mine
mean,
too.
and the villains. They just nail all of this stuff for me. Like when I played that first game, I left it saying, "This is my definitive Peter Parker." Even when they changed the face, I didn't give a shit. I said, "This is my definitive Peter Parker."
It screwed me up royally for a while. I've now come around, and I finally look at like this Peter. It's like, okay, he's really good. But that first face model, getting over that was tough.
Yeah. I mean, the way they do with Aunt May in that first game, uh, them roping Miles and Jefferson into the universe, and that being kind of our first time that we ever had both of them together on a medium like this, because Spider-Verse came out a couple months later.
Yeah.
So like this was like the first time that I was really diving into Miles as a whole. And then like I knew who he was and stuff. I just hadn't really like read any of that. But
Yeah.
um having, like you said, the way that they do with the villains, where they take stuff from multiple things, not just doing a kind of reminds me of the MCU at times, where like they won't like straight up adapt stuff. They'll usually take bits and pieces of stuff they like. In this case, they took, in the first game, they're taking Doc Ock and like the Sinister Six make appearances in it, but you mostly have Mr. Negative and Doc Ock as your two main villains. And for this one, they kind of do similar, where they take Craven and they take Venom, and they throw in a little bit of Craven's Last Hunt. They throw in a little bit of, like you said, King in Black. They throw in a little bit of some Harry stuff, right? Like, because he's not usually Venom, so you're getting some of that Harry, Peter, MJ, relationship, friendship that they have. So you're getting all of that in this story, and I think that's what really made it so great for me, is just the way that they're able to balance these, and why I probably put it above the first game story wise too, is just I like Mr. Negative. I thought he was cool, but the fact that you're getting Kraven and Venom in one game is an upgrade, right? Like that
Yeah.
is an upgrade. And the fact I stayed away from spoilers. So when it came around to playing as Venom, I was shocked.
Me too.
And I was like, I think I yelled out like, hell yeah. And I was just going around wrecking stuff. It was a lot of fun. But I stayed away from all that stuff. So it was really great. I guess we can dive into the main story and kind of like what we liked and you know, I guess we can even talk some of these non-Spider-Man missions too, right? Big complaint in the first game from a lot of people is the MJ missions. And maybe I'm weird, but I really enjoy the MJ and Miles missions in the first game. I like being the stealth. I like doing all that stuff. It was fun. This game, there's literally only 3 MJ missions, and I think they're really fun. I really enjoy her in this game a lot, actually.
I agree completely. And it's funny because I have like such a greater appreciation for her now because since in the time since I played the first game, I've become such a big fan of Laura Bailey, her voice actress, through Critical Role. So like here now it's funny, it's like all I hear is Laura Bailey instead of like hearing MJ. But the missions were way more fun and kind of ironic. They give a lot of to me, or they gave a lot of The Last of Us kind of vibes, like between the stuff when you're in Craven's compound and the jungle stuff, and especially when you're chasing Peter when he's like full Venom, like crazy mode, like super The Last of Us slash Resident Evil type vibes. Actually giving you like a gun, even though it's not really a gun, but the role of a gun in the game was really cool. Just like they did with Peter and Miles, they expanded on her abilities so much more, and it really made it 10 times more enjoyable. Because I will admit, I hated those missions in the first one, the Miles parts and the parts with her. Like every time, like I was doing a replay of it before this one came out, obviously, and like even still to this day, I'm like, ugh, like getting to the part where you got to when you're in Grand Central and you got to like walk around and like do all this stuff, then you got to point here where to go. I'm just like, bruh, why can't I not skip this? But I love the ones in the second one, so that's just another kudos to them. They definitely improved.
Yeah, I was actually one of the guys that when it came time to play as MJ the first game, I was like, hell yeah, let's do another one of these. Which I'm in the minority of, I guess. But like I like the Oscorp one where she goes up to his apartment and you kind of get some info on Harry and stuff. I really like that one a lot.
That one's cool. And because you get to just tase all those dudes, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And this, they kind of took the taser and made it like a gun with the sonic stuff. So that was, you also get a little bit of tasing as well. And she's learned from, Silver Sable and stuff. So it's, they kind of made her a little bit more fun there. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the upgrades we got with that. And I guess we can stick with MJ first and just kind of talk her story through here. Sure. But there's a point here where I audibly had my jaw drop again and I'm screaming, and that's when she turned into Scream.
Scream. Yeah. Dude, I was like, that was like a jump out of my chair moment. I couldn't believe it. Like, in the fight.
I'm like DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme. That's what I was doing. Like, oh.
Yeah. Legit, and the fight with her was awesome too. I had a lot of fun. It was one of the most fun fights in the game.
Yeah,
like such an interesting, cool way to incorporate another one of the symbiotes into the story. Not the only other symbiote that we saw incorporated into this story that we'll get into probably towards the end when we're talking about going forward and DLCs, things like that. But yeah, dude, it was so cool. The design was great. Like the whole, like there was so much emotion behind it too. It kind of felt like it was all building up to that with Peter and MJ, with the sort of her having a little bit of that resentment towards him and not really wanting to move in, and like feeling like she had to work for Jonah in order to let him to keep May's house and all that stuff. And like the way the symbiote just sort of kind of like feeds on that, and like they kind of got to break her out of it together. It was just it was tremendous.
Yeah, I like how they're going through like relationship dynamics in a fun way with the symbiote stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You're thinking at some point this is going to come to a head with like her being upset with how he's acting or something. But really like she was, you know, pretty much ride or die with him in that symbiote part. And then when she gets the symbiote is how they kind of explore that fun dynamic of him being like, this isn't really you talking. I'm sorry though that, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
sorry I made you feel that way and stuff. And uh you know, it was a way to bring it up without it being like 1990s rom-com
Yeah.
style of like,
I'm with Harry now. Yeah.
yes, you know, very Spider-Man Raimi trilogy-esque. Um, you know, they do it a little bit more fun. And when I saw her turn into that, I'm like, Scream? Like, are they actually gonna call her Scream and stuff? And then the subtitles say Scream, and I was like, all right, yeah, we nailed it. Like,
Yep.
it's really cool that they did that. I was really excited about that.
Yeah. It
Um,
was, and that was really kind of the culmination of like, or not, like that was the best example of why it was so awesome being able to have that like neighborhood environment in this one that we didn't have in the first one. It is just such an interesting dynamic, like to be able to like swing through and like fight in. It was like very trippy but very cool.
yeah, having like the Queens area where you're able to, and you're not able to web sling as much away from her. You know, you're
Yeah.
kind of stuck with. It was a very difficult fight for me when it got to some certain stages. I was like, there was one stage I kept dying on, and then I finally overcame it. But it was like in the construction zone area where I kept
Yeah.
dying. I was like, oh.
Stop
um,
killing me, baby. I love you.
but it was a lot of fun, and I'm very happy, like you said, that they were able to just fill that in. And look, we're not going to probably get that many symbiote stories, right, from the way that this ends. Um, so why save her for another game, right? Throw it in here. You don't know if you're getting another game. I was watching I mean, they are, right? But I mean, like Brian Ithahar, when he was talking about making the first game and stuff, he was saying like we just threw stuff in there we want to do because we didn't know for sure we're getting another game,
Yeah.
so we're, you know, just we're doing whatever. And I kind of
You're
felt
getting
like,
the Sinister Six too. This,
yeah,
just
yeah,
because. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
And you know, why waste or hold something when you can, you know, maybe make it the best you can right now.
Yeah, and increase your chances of getting another game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So this one, Scream worked for me really well, and having MJ and Peter kind of resolve their issues. They were kind of hinted in at the Coney Island bit too, when you get the, you know, dead in the water relationship rating.
Yep.
Little ominous. I thought, I was like, uh oh, are they going to go that way? But then it was mostly for this type of story, which I thought was good.
I'm glad they didn't, and I hope they don't go that route for the third one because now it seems like they're like
They're
not to
moved
skip
in.
all the way
Yeah,
to the end, but
they're all,
they're in a great
yeah.
spot now. So like, if we open that next game and they're like back to like, oh no, like just not there's beef there, I would be a little disappointed. I think for the third game, it's got to focus on like because I imagine the third one will be the last one. So like
Yes.
just give us a great story. We don't need relationship drama, just like we're saying in other forms of Spider-Man media. We don't
Yeah.
need MJ Peter drama. I think we got a good amount of it in this, just enough. Uh, and let's not go back to that well, in three.
And that's what I liked that they did in the first game, is that they were already broken up at that point, but
Mm,
they were still friendly, and that you see them resolve that at the end of the first game. So I think for them it's like we're already through that era, and now we can move them forward to that happiness era, hopefully, right? Like I would love if this third game ends with them like getting married or engaged, or, you know, something like that, you know, to keep it going. Um
I think that's going to open the next game, and I think the game's going to end with Peter dying. But that's
I hope not. I hope he lives.
Me too. Well, me too. Me too.
um okay, so let's take Miles' story then, in this game, because some people feel he gets a little sidelined. I thought he still had a lot to do in this story. Um, but he is
Especially at
like,
the end.
yeah, yeah, he is though, like the, you know, the more secondary character when you're talking about Peter, right? Peter was the OG, so you get Miles, and most of his storyline is about kind of preparing for college, writing an essay, relationship with Haley, and then his relationship with Pete kind of falling apart when Pete has the symbiote and him feeling a little left out with all this stuff. But you
all
know,
while still
yeah,
like dealing with the grief of losing Jefferson, and like
hmm
then
and Finn, yeah,
when Lee gets freed, like having to like to let go of that, like, oh, he's out there, so he has to like essentially in his head like he has to die, even though we know that he didn't actually say that, but it's pretty much implied. Like he wants to he does not want he wants an eye for an eye kind of situation. At least that's how I took it. Maybe you kind of saw it differently.
no, I think you're right. I think it's kind of like what we get with traditional stories like this when it comes to heroes that usually don't kill
Yeah,
is the person that they have beef with, right? The person that killed the person they care about is loose. Kind of like if you want to compare it to Toby's Spider-Man in when Uncle Ben dies, and he's like kind of teetering on the line there before you know he doesn't kill him, but I mean he falls, right, the guy, but I mean
yeah,
like
yeah.
Peter didn't really do
I
it, but
consider that Toby Maguire caught a body. I consider that counts.
but in this case it's kind of like that same sort of thing where Miles is kind of going to the brink a little bit, but he pulls himself back. And this was probably one of my favorite Miles missions is having him and Lee team up, like that battle with Martin Lee, and then when you're Miles, right, and they both he sends him out, right? He's like, because this is a battle to the death. This is the time he could do it and not really have many regrets because it's either me or it's you. But he still finds a way to get Martin out of there and telling him to go find the other Spider-Man. And that was something I really enjoyed about Miles. And then them teaming up again to go save Pete and making the anti-venom suit by going through Peter's head and all that. It was just two of my favorite missions with Miles because I really loved their dynamic, and seeing Miles come out on the other side of that uh still as himself and as doing what a Spider-Man would do, I think was really really worth it. So when people say that he didn't get as much to do, I think he had a lot more emotional, heavier stuff to do.
Yeah, I agree completely. And it also kind of showed him that like sort of the butterfly effect thing where like, okay, if he had just taken Lee out in that in Craven's combat thing, he wouldn't have been there to help with Peter and to help him get that anti-venom suit. So it just kind of reinforced that lesson that he learned throughout the entire thing. I loved Miles's story. It felt, again, expert analysis, but it felt very like Miles Morales, very like kind of Spider-Verse-y, just kind of like a kid like kind of learning how to navigate being Spider-Man and dealing with all these real life things. It was great. His suit collection was awesome, and I know we'll get into suits a little after too. But I loved everything about Miles' part. I thought it was really good, and I'll hear somebody if they say like there was parts, especially in the beginning, and like when Peter was dealing with his like Venom stuff. Yeah, he was a little bit story sidetracked. I still played a bunch of side missions with him,
Yeah.
but in terms of the main story, yeah, it was definitely kind of Peter dominated.
And I don't know what else you would do in that sense because like the whole point is Peter pushing people away, right? So
Yeah,
he's pushing Miles away first, kind of because he's has Harry back, and then
yeah,
he's pushing him away because he's doing all of this Venom stuff, the black symbiote suit. So to me that worked, and it makes you feel like I think when you're playing it, like, man, I just want these two to be together again. Like, why are they keep dodging my calls?
yeah,
Is kind of what you're thinking. But like you said, they give you the times to go out in the open world, and you can play as whoever you want. You can do his Brooklyn Visions storylines at that point, and it would feel like he has stuff to do.
yeah.
Like I think I did one of his quest lines, like the Harlem Museum one, during the story, and I love that one. I love the suit you get with that too. But darn it, I think I left it off my list. But yeah, no, I mean, I think at some point you're going to have to get one of them. One of them's going to get sidelined, and I think maybe that's how it's going to be. But Pete has so much more of a connection with these villains and the people that were in this story that it's harder to like sideline Pete. And I think the same thing for the third game, who we're setting up for the villain there. It's going to be hard to sideline Pete, right? So you're going to get some sideline Miles again, I think, at that point.
Yeah. At least, yeah, in the final battle and all that, you'd imagine. So, yeah.
Yeah. But in this case, Miles got the good battle with Venom. I really like that they gave him the battle with Venom. I liked the part when Venom has wings and you're like having to throw stuff at him and then you're beating him up. Like that was a really good fight.
It was awesome, dude. It was like Brett when I saw those wings go out, which is another like King in Black, like just like Venom comic kind of thing. It just, oh my God. And like the visual of like the moon and like it was, oh God, it was so good, dude.
By the way, I did read King in Black. I read it over the weekend. So.
Nice. What'd you think?
It was all right.
Really.
It was all right.
It was all right.
It was all right. I'm not big on heroic Eddie Brock. All right.
I'm holding up a finger. I won't let you see which one.
It's not the middle one, I hope. No, I only read the 5 issues. I didn't read any of the side stuff, and I hadn't been reading any Venom stuff before that, so I felt like I was a little out of touch with, like, I didn't know he had a kid or anything. So all that stuff I was kind of like catching up on.
And then like Silver Surfer coming out of nowhere too was probably very like, all right,
yeah,
what's going on here? if you didn't read the build up and like Silver Surfer Black.
I was worried about trying to get it all done for this. I only read the 5, but
fair.
No, I mean it was good. It just wasn't like I could see the inspiration in this, right? Like he does have wings in it. The null with the swirl, right? We see those on the other symbiotes,
dude. All of those like kind of NPC symbiotes. Those are like King in Black, like to a T.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff I like them doing. Just taking stuff from comics, repurposing it, right? I know some people are upset it wasn't Eddie Brock or it wasn't, that the symbiote wanted to take over the world or like cover the world, but I mean, they got it from Harry. Harry wanted to heal the world. This stuff was healing Harry, so in his warped mind, healing the world is making everybody a symbiote. Like, and it makes sense.
Well, and it made sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're still combining these, like you're combining comic stuff with your own original take into it. Like it was
awesome. So moving on from Miles, let's talk about the 2 villains before we get to Peter, I guess, and his storyline. So we'll start with Kraven, because then we can go into Venom, which flows into Peter. Kraven, I thought, was super great in this, and I'm looking at that darn Kraven trailer for the movie, and I'm like, this won't do it justice. This game is how you do Kraven justice. This is Kraven the Hunter here, and I am so pleased with what we got with this. I didn't know how it was going to go. The fact that they made him scary by just killing some of the Sinister Six worked so well for me. I know some people will be like, why are you killing them off? We've played against them. We've seen them. We don't need them in the next one.
Yeah.
Have lasting stakes. I like that. Like, these characters are dead. That's fine with me. We need to be able to push the story forward some ways like that. And this is not a comic book. So you can make those choices. You can have these characters get killed off. And
I promise we're not running out of Spider-Man villains.
Right. No, they got a bunch, right? Yeah. Like, they can't run out. Yeah. And when you have, especially when you start with Mr. Negative, right? You're like, okay, you still got all the big boys,
Yeah.
And the fact that they killed off Scorpion, that was my first, like, what the F moment. I was like, they went there. And then later you find the other parts where they've killed Vulture. They killed Shocker. Electro.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, all 4 of them are dead.
Yeah. It was wild. It was also like the tone setter of like, death is not like like yeah, we saw Aunt May die in the first one, but it was a little kind of different circumstances. This is like death is not off the table here, like which we saw later in the game, which it with an even crazier with Craven's ending. Not to skip right to the end, but like holy crap, that was one that I would like. That whole fight, that whole Venom and Craven fight was just like, I know I've said mind blowing a lot here. I don't mean to sound redundant, but it really was, dude. It was incredible.
No, I agree. I think that Venom fight against Craven, and I was not shocked he ate his head, but I was like, this is where they're going here, because his whole point, Craven, is that he's dying and he doesn't want to die from, what is it, cancer that he has,
Mhm.
and he wants to have like a hunter's death. He wants to find somebody that can take him out, and that's why he goes on these. He's originally hunting somebody in his home,
Mhm.
and then they say, what about this jungle? The concrete jungle. Go to New York, and they have all
With
these.
dreams are made of.
They have all these villains there that he can hunt and trying to find the perfect guy. And even Spider-Man, he disposes of, but the symbiote brings him back to life, and that's when he realizes this is the guy. This symbiote Spider-Man is who I need to face. He's the one that'll kill me without me having to just give up. Like, he will
Mhm.
actually best me in battle. It will be a uh not heroic, but like a what's the word I'm looking for here?
Warrior's death.
Yes, like a warrior's death. Um, he's not sacrificing himself to die. He's not killing himself. He's actually being bested, and he does get bested by Venom, and he dies. And I felt like that was when the story really kicked into. Okay, now it's boss fight central. That's where I go,
Mhm.
keep going here. But no, that was a great battle. Being able to play as Venom was great in that. But the way they did Craven, the performance was great. The animation on Craven was great. I was amazed every time I saw his hair on the
Yeah,
coat. Looked fantastic.
yeah, it did. It looked awesome, and even like I was a little concerned about like how it would feel because like to me the cool part about like Craven is that he himself is so like dangerous and he's such a great hunter. Like I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about him having like all of these like high tech, like basically this whole army of people and like all these high tech gadgets and all this stuff, but it played together really well and it fit, like the stuff with the fireworks in the war,
Yeah.
like and all that stuff. It was just it was really cool.
No, yeah, that was great. And then let's talk Venom, since we'll go into Venom. Venom is Harry in this, and he kind of starts off looking like Agent Venom a bit. He's trying to
Mhm.
be one of the Spider friends, Spider pals, whatever he calls himself. And he, uh, after Pete takes the suit and stuff, he is starting to get sick again. He's starting to grow resentment. Pete keeps saying, "Hey, once we get this thing off of me, I'm giving it to you so you can heal up back up again." And then soon Pete wants the suit for himself, and it's that attachment with the symbiote, who pretty much leapt from Harry to get onto Peter because he thinks Peter's probably a better match. But once
Mhm.
Peter rejects him, he goes back to Harry and becomes the full-on Venom and kills Craven and starts trying to heal the world. But so when we talk about Venom, we're talking about Harry as well. I'm glad he didn't die. I know he's kind of comatose. I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad he's alive because Harry Osborn is so important, and I think they showed him some real importance on this without him being tied to the Goblin storyline for once. So I really did enjoy that they made him Venom.
Yeah, it was a super interesting like original sort of take on that. Like admittedly in the beginning my first like thought was going to be all right, we got to see how this thing gets from Harry to Eddie Brock somehow. Like I thought we were still going to end up getting Eddie Brock, but like the way that it progressed and like Peter being on his like deathbed and you kind of once you saw Peter take that knife from Craven, you kind of, at least me, I kind of started to have the feeling like, okay, this is where this is going. This is how he's gonna get the suit, sort of thing. Um, I do feel like Harry's still going to die though, because I feel like there's got to be something that pushes. And I know we're still talking about Venom, so I won't go too far into this, but I feel like there's gonna have to be something that finally pushes Norman fully over the edge to like really go crazy Goblin mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Unless if they try to make him Goblin too, and we have our first dual villain where he
It would
was Venom and then New Goblin or something.
honestly, like we're gonna have two Spider-Man, so we may as well have two Goblins
True,
too. You know
true.
what I mean? And make make Genki what's his or
Hobgoblin.
yeah, Hobgoblin. Yeah.
Um, no, what I think with because they are setting up that he has this next serum or something to try to help Harry, and it's the G
G
serum,
serum.
and
Look
we
at
all
that.
think that's Goblin. So
Gremlin.
yeah, he's the gremlin now. Don't feed him after midnight. But yeah, so I don't know where they go, if it is going to be Norman or if it is going to be Harry, or maybe the G serum doesn't work with Harry and Norman tries it on himself for whatever reason, and then he ends up being the Goblin.
Maybe
I don't
it
know.
kills Harry.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
the
then
serum kills Harry, and that's what you know.
but then I'm wondering why Norman would ever get infected with it. But
Maybe
we'll find
like
out.
wow, I almost called him Oswald Cobblepot. Holy shit. Octavius, like maybe he finds a way to like engineer it there because we saw in the post credits scene,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously those two kind of linking back up together. But
All right, so
Venom. Yeah,
yeah, Venom.
back to Venom. Yeah, no, Venom was playing in the black suit was so much fun. It's like that sort of like, I guess would you call it Venom mode, just for lack of
Yeah,
a when you like
Surge when you do the Surge
yeah,
thing.
the Venom surge, yeah, that was it. Like that was, and you're just laying waste to people. Like that was so much fun, and I was so bummed when you lose the suit because you didn't get to do that anymore. And then when we obviously tie it back around with the anti Venom suit at the end, you get to again, which is really cool. But this
I
was
spam
definitely
that all the time.
you what?
I
Yeah, me
spammed it.
too.
And I was like, I
Yeah.
gotta do this.
Hell yeah, you gotta. Um, it definitely was the most like epic Venom ever felt to me, like grand stagey, sort of like between the movies. Obviously, that's night and day difference from what we saw the Tom Hardy Venom movies, and even in the comic stuff, like King in Black wasn't like he was the protagonist of that story,
Yeah.
obviously. So he was in a little bit of a different role. Um, this is the first like I don't want, or maybe not the first, but this was like the best example to me of just like it felt like Venom was trying to take over the world because he literally was, and it was cool to sort of have a Venom story that felt so big as opposed to just like him and Peter. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah, yeah.
didn't like for example in Spider-Man 3 with Raimi, like it didn't feel like there were any world stakes in that movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was cool to have that sort of like, and again that visual that they show of the world being encompassed in a symbiote, which is ripped straight from King in Black.
Right.
Like it was awesome to see that scope, like that large of a Venom story, kind of come to life in front of our eyes for the first time.
Yeah, I think that's been most people's complaints though, is that it wasn't as personal, I guess, but for me it still felt personal because it's Harry.
Yeah,
You know, as opposed to when it's Eddie Brock and Eddie just hating Pete, you know. It's a
and
little
it's a
odd,
different interpretation. Everything we've seen from Venom so far has been
Yeah.
very, and like by design, like Venom essentially like feeds on your worst thoughts, and like so I understand why it's always been so personal and sort of between like the character and the symbiote and very tight knit. But it's also cool to see that dude 8 feet tall and all jacked up with bat wings flying around talking about how he's going to take over the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be a mutually exclusive thing. Like I don't know. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, he looked great too. This is the best Venom's looked. I'm not a big fan of the Venom films. Um,
Yeah,
so
you're okay.
yeah, I like Venom 1 more than Let There Be Carnage. I know a lot of people like Let There Be Carnage. I walked out of that movie thinking it was the worst movie I paid to see in the movie theater.
I don't think I'd go that far, but I much preferred the first one.
I usually only go see movies that I want to see, though. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I, you know
Me
what I'm saying?
too.
So, like,
Me
no, I'm
too.
saying, like, so I usually don't pay for movies I'm not interested in. That
Yeah.
one, I was already kind of like, I didn't really want to go see it, but my parents were into it. I was like, I'll go see it so I can talk about it on the show. Um, it was the longest 90 minutes of my life.
That's amazing.
I don't know how many times I looked at like my watch, like, oh my god, I'm
Yeah,
already
that's when you know.
halfway
Yeah,
through.
checking the phone. Yeah.
um, but no, this did Venom justice. I really enjoyed this interpretation of Venom. So you know, Pete, we can just briefly touch on. I think because we kind of touched on him in each story there. Uh, Pete's just as good as he's always been in this. I think Yuri Lowenthal is my Peter Parker. He's absolutely wonderful, perfect. When he's playing his symbiote, Pete, you hear the more menacing voice, a little different tone. I really enjoy his performance in this.
And
And
the way they switch up the swinging music too when you're in the black suit, and it's
mhm.
got kind of like that wow, like that sort of like just background creepy tone. Like, oh, it's great.
Yeah, so he was great. Let's talk the end credit scenes then. We kind of hinted to the first one, which was the Norman Doc Ock end credit scene where it's maybe hinting that they're going to work together here. He says, "I know you know who the Spider-Men are, so I need to figure that out because they hurt Harry." And Doc Ock is struggling, right? He's struggling. He has some sort of disease. I forget if they actually named it or not in the first one, but he's got something kind of like an ALS, I would say, where he's losing
Mhm.
mobility on stuff. He's having trouble writing when it comes in here. But and the arms were going to help him with this because he was going to be able to use the metal arms. That was his whole motivation in the first one. But it seems like maybe he might be getting out. We might have another Doc Ock. I thought he was going to be done. We might get Doc Ock again here, teaming up with the Green Goblin. Do you think these are the two villains we get in the next game, or are we still going to get one of those like other villains, like how we had uh, Craven at first and Martin Lee at first? Like, do you think we get one of them and then we get them teaming up, or maybe Doc Ock doesn't actually suit up? Like, what's your thoughts?
Uh, I think it'll be a lot of, or I should say, I don't think it'll be a lot of like him, Doctor Octopus. I do think we'll get to fight him one more time. Um, that'll probably be like the midway point of the game, I would imagine, or maybe even I don't know. That's tough. He, right now, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say those are the two, like the two villains they focus on for the game. Just because I'm trying to think of like any villain they could pop in that would just make sense at this point. It feels more like that story is so big between like because last I remembered, like he kind of like was okay with Peter. Like wasn't like at the end there, like when he like he kind of gets it, like that he went off the rails, right? So it
I
was
just replayed it too. I just played that scene like a week before the game came out.
yeah.
I sort of think so. I don't know if he's just pleading so he doesn't go to jail or something, but he was like kind of pleading with him a bit, kind of like Norman pulls in Spider-Man 1. You know how he's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of pleading with, but you don't know if he's actually
Peter,
telling the truth.
please, Peter.
Right. You don't know if he's telling the truth or not. So you're like, I don't know. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna is supposed to help him with something scientifically, or just wants to know the identity of Spider-Man. I mean, this is a guy he hates, Norman. He almost tried to kill him. Like, is
Yeah,
he gonna
like
work with him? I don't know. But he does
like
call out the final chapters what he's writing, which makes me think, like you mentioned, the third game is probably the last.
yeah, but it just like with so much hatred and resentment towards Norman and everything that Norman took from him, it would just feel weird for me for him to hate Spider-Man more at this point than to team up with Norman to take him out. So like something's got to happen there. I don't know. Like maybe maybe Norman gives him the G serum or something, and it turns them all angry and crazy and like Bane. You know, just he's got 8 Bane arms walking around. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's I think it's probably a little too early to tell right now, and I know that's kind of like the boring answer. But if I had to put my money on one right now, I would say those are the two for the second.
Something I found interesting. I was just listening to an interview with Brian Ithahar, like I said, and he said that this is something they had set up, that they knew that once he got locked away, they were going to bring him back in a future game for Doc Ock. So that is something I think is really interesting, that he said that's his favorite villain. So he's like, we're not kind of done with him yet. I was actually surprised because I was like, oh, I thought we were done with him. I'm fine with them bringing him back. He is like, if you put him and Goblin up there, those are the two big ones. So if we have to fight them at one time, that would be really cool. I would
Yeah,
love that.
as both Spider-Men. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or even like Miles is out for the count for some reason, and it's just Peter going up against those two, his two greatest foes. I think is a pretty interesting thing. But I'm betting that there's going to be another villain in there to kind of play that Martin Lee Craven approach, where it starts out as somebody different that he's facing, and then maybe these two pop up after that.
I'm just trying to think of who would like would it is Morbius just like forever dead now because of the movie? Like would it be like just impossible to have him be like, the guy? So I'm trying to just think.
I think they would stay away from Morbius. I think you would go with somebody like a.
Maybe it's a Miles villain. Maybe it's like the Spy. You know what I mean? Like,
that'd be cool.
Just pulling one out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, it would. Yeah, honestly, like that might be the way to sort of think about it. Who knows? Maybe they have Aaron sort of be the Prowler again. I don't know. That would kind of feel a little anti.
Yeah, because that's part of Miles' story there, where Uncle Aaron's moving in one floor up, and he's definitely retired. I love Miles just bursting in there, I knew I couldn't trust you, and then they're like, his mom's like, Miles? And he's like, Mom? Oh yeah, he's just moving up here. He thinks he stole the record player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
we know we know we're getting Chameleon as well. We saw
that might be him. That might be the either DLC or he might be the opening villain.
I think it'll be. I feel like the DLC is going to be Carnage. It has to be one of those two. Who knows? Maybe it's both, but I feel like that's a lot to pack into one DLC thing. Although
we had three. We had three last time.
Yeah,
Tombstone,
we had Tombstone, Hammerhead, and
Black Cat.
Help me, Black Cat. Yeah. So like maybe Chameleon and Carnage, and was there anybody else kind of like half set up in this one? Can't really think of anybody.
The only thing I can think of when we look at side missions is, did you finish the Spider-Bot?
I have not yet.
All right, there is a huge.
You can spoil it for me.
Okay, once you get all of them, you have to go somewhere, and then it opens up a portal like that looks exactly like Across the Spider-Verse, the hexagonal ones. Yeah. And there's a woman at like a bar, and she's like, "Thanks for getting those Spider-Bots," or whatever. She sucks them all in, and you're kind of left like, "What?" And it closes. And I don't know if they're hinting at something for a DLC or another game, but Peter was like, kind of like, "What?" Because I went there as Peter. I don't know what would happen if I went there as Miles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should have. I feel like that's where you got to go.
I didn't know that it was going to happen, though.
Damn it. Damn it, Jordan.
But they are hinting while you're collecting them that the data is coming from like far away and
far
stuff.
away.
And
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
these different versions of the Spider-Man, but it was
Who
a
knows?
really cool thing. So definitely make sure you try to get all those because they're fun.
Dude, maybe then that's what they do. Maybe the first half is like just crazy ass Spider-Verse stuff, and meanwhile in the background, Norman's like plotting and scheming and like setting all this stuff up. That would be really cool for the third one because they're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to find a way to top this one somehow, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be a tall task, which I don't doubt for a second that they can do because they did it with the second one.
Yeah, and we had the Carnage setup, like you said. The Flame mission sets up what Cletus Cassidy as a as one of his as one of his monikers, right? But he did all this stuff just to get the extra symbiote that they had, I guess, for testing for the Venom cure for Harry. So he gets that, and he says there's going to be a bunch of carnage, right? So you're definitely like, okay, we're getting this. But you have Yuri as Wraith being like, well, it's going to take me a couple months to a few years to track him down. I'm like, okay, so that's either DLC or it's either the third game. Like
couple months to a few years, give or
couple
take.
months. Like, what is it going to be? A side story? I don't know. Do we get another? Like, do you think we get like a Miles game, but it's like Venom instead? Because they've kind of been hinting to that type of stuff.
That could be.
They have the assets, like everything. The world is complete now. Most in New York.
Yeah.
They could probably push out another game in a couple years that is like a Miles level of it because they have all the upgraded assets for the PS5 now. The city is made. Venom is an asset. Like they have all this stuff.
Do you think that they would ever make a Daredevil game set in this exact same world in the exact same style, or do you think it would just be too jarring because of the like transversal stuff getting around?
I would love it. I think that I don't think they'll touch that. When we're talking about the they did a tease of like the Murdoch stuff, like Nelson and Murdoch's not there anymore, and somebody said like, oh, great job spotting that. That's like, stay tuned. I think that might be more DLC stuff where maybe you get like a side mission with one of those characters, not as like Daredevil. I don't know how this stuff works. Like, can they just throw in these things, or would they have to go and renegotiate something when Marvel says, hey, we want to throw Daredevil in here? Like, that's the kind of stuff that like, or maybe we see it from another point of Kingpin gets out of jail, and that's a reason why Nelson and Murdoch's not, like it may not actually have
that
to
was
do
going
with
to be
Daredevil.
my next question, because it feels like Fisk is the one, like in terms of the top, like I know we got a decent amount of them in the first one, but we really kind of didn't. At the end of the day, like he was there throughout the whole story. Like we obviously the first fight was all him, and the whole stuff with Martin Lee is essentially based around.
He was the Sandman of the game, the first level villain that you face. Yeah.
But it feels like Kingpin deserves more than that. Like that felt adequate for Sandman. It feels like there's more there with Kingpin. I wonder if they go the route of making him the mayor of New York in the third one. Maybe they do like a time skip sort of thing.
Norman loses the mayor role, right? Yeah.
And that's part of like what sort of drives him down that path, and like maybe losing Harry again, like just all those things kind of like culminate, and then he just becomes Willem Dafoe. Like literally Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, something of a scientist myself. Jinx. And the last tease we got maybe has more to do with Miles. Here is the post credit scene where they introduce Cindy Moon, who is also known as Silk.
Yeah.
Who is a spider person. Like, do we get her on the cover and it's 3 spider people on the cover, or like is she just gonna play like a different type of role? Is she not gonna be playable? That's the kind of stuff I'm sitting here thinking about, because it might become a little bloated if we have to fit a storyline with her too. But
I agree, and a part of me wonders if she, like, because I don't think there's any reason for us to have to play as MJ again in the third one. So I wonder if they kind of give her some of that stuff. Although but
Maybe.
still in a more advanced, because ultimately she is Silk, so she's going to be like, probably like able to defend herself and like, knows how to take care of herself, sort of thing. So still kind of those advanced mechanics that we got with MJ in the stealth stuff in this one, but just a different character in being Cindy. Because yeah, I don't think you can pack a whole Silk origin story into all this. Although you can, I mean, you can if they just make it super long, which I'm not going to complain about if they do. But
Yeah.
yeah, it would probably feel like a lot. Or maybe that is the
DLC.
yeah, maybe that's like the DLC slash like Miles game. You know what I mean? Maybe the next game is her and like Miles sort of taking her under his wing, and like you play mostly as her, sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you play the Haley mission yet?
With the like with the
Spray
paint
paint?
and all that.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate me.
You didn't like it, or you didn't play it?
I got like halfway through that mission. That was the last time that I picked it up. It was like a couple days ago. Yeah, and like I got like halfway through it, and I was like, all right, I gotta like. So like halfway through it, I hit the pause and like kind of ducked out. So I don't know what happens, but feel free to spoil.
It's nothing big. I was just gonna say I enjoyed the mission.
Oh, okay. So
nice
so
little,
yeah.
nice little breather there for it. But yeah, that's all it really is. Okay, so I guess let's go to the suits. Anything else about the story or anything we missed? Side
No, I think
mission?
that was a beefy segment there. I think we got pretty much. Here, let me go to my list again, just make sure we didn't. Oh, well, I will probably bring that up in the more wild card round. Scream, the null stuff. Yeah, no. I think the only thing story wise that I would add is that it was kind of dope to see Tombstone get redeemed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's not often that you see villains like get full on redemption like that. And like seeing him save the dude out of the go kart and everything, is like, yeah, you go Tombstone. And like when you're taking out Craven's henchman and he's like, oh, I gotta save Tombstone. Oh, it doesn't look like he's having too much trouble. Like,
yeah.
hell yeah, mess him up, man. So that stuff was really fun.
It was, yeah. All right, let's talk suits. Before we talk suits, real quick, I just want to say I also love the opening where Peter is a teacher, and then
Yeah.
Miles excuses himself to go to the
Instantly
bathroom, and then he's like, "I
Instantly
need some
loses.
help." And then they're both gone for like an hour. You're like, if you're a student, you're like, I don't know what they're doing.
What is going on here? So do you were you gonna ask about like side missions and stuff? And like, because I don't even think this was really a side mission, but the Black Cat, Doctor Strange stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to bring up. Thank you for reminding me. The
Yeah,
little, yeah, the Black Cat mission with Miles, and this is one of the reasons it couldn't have been on PS4, and also the opening with Sandman. When he throws you across the whole city, that would have loaded not at all on a PS4.
your PS4 just exploded.
Yes. So that is why, sorry, Chris, if you're listening, that is why you could not have played this game. All right. Sandman throws you, he said he's going to listen. I was like, Sandman throws you across the whole city and it loads perfectly fine. It's like seamless. And then this Black Cat mission, she opens up portals like Doctor Strange, and you're going into the Arctic. You're going across the city, and it is awesome. And then,
And to clarify, even though people who played the game know, she is literally using an item she stole from the Sanctum Sanctorum,
yes,
which is in this game. So like, it is full fledged like Avengers Endgame portals, and at the end you get the nice little note from Wong. It's just
yes,
it is chef's
they
kiss.
were out on, they just got back from vacation or something.
Yeah. Thanks for returning it. Yeah. Oh, so cool, dude. So cool.
Yeah, that was a nice little touch. I just thought it taking place at the Sanctum and her using the thing was cool. And then you get the note, and I'm like, yes, yes.
And it's like it's so cool how they have like the creative liberty to be able to like, that's from the MCU, so like we can even pull stuff from there if we want
Yeah.
to. Like it's just, yeah, man, it was so cool to see.
Yeah, and seriously,
On top of all the other references.
when you get done the Spider-Bot mission and you see the portal open, it is literally the hexagon from Across the Spider-Verse with like the same color scheme and everything. Like it looks, they're able to pull everything. I guess when you make a hit game and you're about to make this hit second game, right? Or you already did with Miles. You're making the third hit game, and Marvel knows how popular these games are, and they're selling well. They sold like 2.5 million copies in 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
They give you a lot more liberty. They'll give you stuff then, and I feel like you see that a lot in this game, and that's awesome.
Yeah, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, name the reference. Yeah, the Avengers Tower, which was in the first one too, but still.
Right. The only thing they don't give you is the rights to the Chrysler Building, because that had to get removed.
True. Get about 1,000. Okay.
So weird that I didn't know that was like an issue until years ago. That that building, especially, and other famous buildings, I guess, have like image likeness rules. I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They make a bunch of money off it. Anytime
crazy.
anybody wants to use their thing, and I know the Empire State Building makes a lot of money off of that too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just thought, public domain. It's in the sky. I'm
putting
it on.
It exists. It's there. Yeah.
I can see it. It's going into this. All right, top 5 suits for Peter and Miles. I have 5 for each. I don't know how you.
Oh, okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 in total. Most of them are actually Miles suits, surprisingly. So
all right, cool.
I think we'll probably agree on a lot of them. I'll just rattle mine off first. So the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, untouchable. Yes. That thing looked so beautiful, especially once they gave the patch to kind of to update sort of some of the, I don't know if it was shadowing issues or whatever, texture. Awesome. The Spider-Verse suits for Miles, incredible. I played mostly with those for him. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm a big sucker for the Spider-Verse, as we all are here.
And they included the one with the, the costume he buys from Stan Lee. They added that one in here, and that's great too, with the little cape and everything.
Yep. The Miles Prowler outfit I really liked. I just love that color scheme, the purple and the sort of vibrant green. The symbiote suit, obviously, the black one. The Miles 2099 suit, the one with the hood, and it's got kind of like the glowing eyes. I love that one. I think that was in the Miles Morales game.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I love playing with that one. And the Wolverine suit as well. That was just so trippy to see. That thing was freaking awesome.
Yeah, so what I have here, I'll share my Miles ones for right now. Wolverine suit, but specifically I put it in the blue and yellow color scheme.
Of course.
One thing they've done in this game, which is cool, is all the non-movie suits, probably because of likeness issues, licensing. Has the different styles. They have 4 different styles. The original one that's made, and then 3 different color schemes. And the Wolverine one is pretty much every Wolverine color scheme, and then also a Miles color scheme. I think there's a What If comic where he was like, what if Wolverine? They did a whole line of Miles What If comics recently.
Yeah.
And it's partly that, but we also know that they're making a Wolverine game, Insomniac. So a little bit
shout out to the Miles Black Panther suit too.
Oh yes. What is that called? The Forever suit? Is that which one it is?
Yes, the Forever suit.
Yes. So I have that as my favorite Miles one. Second, I put Spider-Verse. It's really any of them. I like that they add it across the Spider-Verse, but I actually really like the Into the one because I like the spray paint look.
I was just gonna say the spray paint and the lines, like the spider sort of web lines. Yeah, I like for that
one. I have the upgraded suit, which is the one he starts out with in the game. I really like that. I'm also a sucker for the track suit. I didn't put that one on there though.
The track suit, that was the one that I played with the most in the beginning before I unlocked the Spider-Verse suits.
This one's controversial here. If you've been online, you see everybody hates this suit, but I actually like the evolved suit.
Me too. The hair was a really cool touch coming out.
Yes.
Of it. Yeah, I think it was awesome.
And I like the blue. I like the tealish marine aqua color on his chest with the electricity pulsating through or whatever it is.
I was gonna say it gives off that glowing, it really pops with the electricity. Yeah, I thought that suit was dope as hell, man.
I know. I have to keep defending it online every time. People if you're on the subreddit for Spider-Man PS4, by the way, That's all they've talked about is how awful that suit is. I'm like ready to leave the sub. They posted 3 discussions about it in the same 24-hour thing, and I was like, I don't know about that. And they
Nice,
still
man.
keep going on about it.
Like, I don't understand what was bad about it.
They don't like the hair. They don't like the blue. They don't like the shoes. They don't like any of that stuff.
All right.
I really liked it.
They were probably pissed Miles was in the game at all, to be honest with you, those people. Yeah.
When it came up, when he came in with that suit, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know people were reacting so mean about it, but I was
Me
like,
either.
I like this
thought
suit.
people were going to lose their mind over it. I haven't.
They did
really
the other way, though.
Yeah, I guess so. I hadn't seen that the reaction was bad to it. I just kind of assumed everybody else liked it.
And the smoke and mirror suit. I like the Mysterio suit. I think it looks really cool.
Those missions were a lot of fun too to get them.
They were, and I like trying them. You know, like the one where it's like get hit less than 3 times, or get hit 0 times. I made it through one of them with getting hit once, and I was so pissed that I was like, oh, I should redo it. Maybe I'll redo it another time, but it was a lot of fun.
Did you have fun doing the DJ stuff? The first Mysterio?
I did.
A shitload of fun. Sorry, I had a lot of fun playing that one. Dude.
Yeah, no, I play. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, right? So I've played through all the oddly numbered Kingdom Hearts games, and we get to they have Melody of Memory, and it's like a game like that where you have to match the rhythm. It's like a rhythm game. So yeah. I like doing that on this. It was a lot of fun.
Like Zelda, when you used to do the Ocarina.
Yeah. And then my top 5 suits for Peter. Number 1, I have what is called the new red and blue suit, but we know it as the final swing suit from No Way Home. This thing is gorgeous. I love it so much.
Yep.
You get that at like level 58 or something, sadly. That's why I need New Game Plus so I can replay it with this.
Yeah, you're talking about the black with the gold?
No. This is the final swing one, like the one he makes on his own when he's swinging out in the middle of the snow.
Oh, in the MC. Okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's great.
The colors pop on that one so much.
Yeah, they do.
The red and the blue, it's just like, whoa.
I have the classic black suit, which is the like comic book symbiote. I have the new blue suit on here as well. This one's the one that looks like the Fantastic Four. It's like black with blue, and it has like the Spider-Man logo in the center and in a circle.
In the circle, yeah.
I love that suit. It looks so good.
That is sweet. That is a sweet suit. Then
I have, like you said, in my 5th spot, I have Amazing Suit 2, and in my 4th spot, I have the Homecoming suit. You know, I love that Civil War Homecoming suit so much. It is, especially one of the things you can make him do is the head on the hands look.
Yeah,
with the eyes wide. And I'm going to do that with that suit, but I should actually do it with the one that's from Far From Home with the black. But I want to do that in Times Square on there and take a picture of it because it is so funny. But those are my top 5 Pete suits.
Another just underrated, just while we're kind of just throwing things around here, that photo mode, and it is so much fun. I'll spend an hour, and I've got some things on my Twitter. You all see my @ there if anybody wants to like check out just some of the media that I've posted while I've been playing this game. Like it's so dope, man. It feels like you can, not to sound corny, but it's like you're just creating these awesome like dope little pieces of art. It's like little Spider-Man kind of clips, you know what I mean? They're like your own, even though like everyone's out there doing it. It's like kind of your own thing, you know?
And shout out to them for putting every movie suit in this. I know people they've complained about a lot. They've complained that we get like 7 MCU suits, but I love that they did every single one because like those are some of my favorite suits, all these movie suits. The fact that we got Amazing Suit 2 is great. When that movie was coming out, I was so excited. I was living in Disney at the time. I was on the college program when I worked there, and they did released the picture of the, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, like first look. It's like this from one of the opening scenes of the movie, I think. He's got the big eyes. I was like, this is Spider-Man, baby.
Yeah.
The movie was not as great, but but the suit is so good. And when they only added the first one, I was like, oh man, like I don't like Amazing Suit 1 really. So
No, me either. The eyes are weird.
yeah, shout out also to Advanced Suit 2.0, which is the one you wear most of the time in the opening here, where it's a little bit more of the red,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like an orangish color that Advanced Suit 1 has. But they still put Advanced Suit 1 in this game. Like I love that they did that stuff, man.
Yeah. No,
Um,
they left no stone unturned with the suits.
yeah, no, they're great. They're great. The Noir suit is definitely an
Oh,
upgrade from
no.
the last Noir suit. We get the Raimi black suit. Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, it is absolutely wonderful on what they were able to put in this. Oh, the Life Story suit. Both of them got Life Story suits, which
Mm-hmm.
are, if anybody's read Life Story, it's a suit where it's like almost like they're going up in space. It's from like the last chapter of Life Story, but
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And
they're
gotta give love, just gotta give love to the anti venom suit. I mean, I know it's
yeah,
kind of like stock because like it's a suit you have to play in, but that shit is sleek as hell looking.
it is. No, I think it all looks great. Anti Venom looks great. The Venom suit looks great. Um, but lately though, I've been just rolling around in the new red and blue one from the No Way Home final scene, and the blue suit, the Fantastic Four suit. I've been just rocking those two constantly. But it's been a lot of fun. Now they have a lot of great suits. I'm hoping if they do some DLC, we get some more suits like we did last time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't used any of the pre-order ones. I got all the pre-order bonus ones, but they're all kind of ugly. I haven't worn them.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of him either, to be honest with you. There was. I feel like every suit in this game, and it was much more love than hate, but I either loved it or I hated it. Like some of those like Assassin's Creed looking ones for Miles and stuff. I was like, I'm good. You know.
There's certain suits though that like I might think, oh, I don't know about that, but then I check the color schemes and I like another one of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Or it looks like kind of blah when you like first like look at it, but when you actually play as it, it looks a little more sleek.
yeah. But there was, I forget which suit it was. It was either for Miles or for Peter, I guess. There's only two. But I mean, I think it may have been Miles that I was like, oh, I don't know about this suit. And then I clicked the options and I'm like, oh, I'm rocking this one. I'm right. Oh,
Yeah.
shout out to the Harlem suit. I do like the 1940s look of
Yeah, that is dope.
Miles. It looks really cool. But yeah, no, this game's been great. I'm hoping, last time we got DLC news pretty quickly. Like the first one,
Mhm.
we already knew there was DLC before the game came out.
Mhm.
This one, we don't really know any of that. So, like, they didn't sell anything of like get all the DLC or anything. I'm hoping we get some, and I'm
Christmas
hoping it's
time,
not.
maybe.
I'm hoping it's not a long wait because I really do want to dive back into this. And since I've 100% completed it, right now I don't have any reason to until they add in something like New Game Plus. So I think I am going back to Spider-Man 1 and Miles to clean up those games. Because I didn't fully do the remaster. I just beat the story mode of the remaster like last week, right before the game came out, like 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Um, but I did more of it on the PS4 version. I just haven't, done it all on the PS5.
Same. Yeah, that was where I had my big file was on the PS4. I have the remastered one for my 5, and it's just like 70% done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just
yeah.
you play the main story stuff, you play your greatest hits of the side stuff, but I ain't going around and unlocking all of Harry's mom's power stations. You know what I mean? Again,
I was doing that the other day. Oh, a side mission real quick. The Howard one. Did you do that?
the Howard. Oh, with the birds.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't. It wasn't anything like crazy, right? I don't like. There's nothing like super memorable that I'm thinking of, unless I'm confusing it with the first one.
Okay. So you may not have done the second one.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It is a
Spoiler.
little memorable. I'm not going to say anything about it on here, but
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's been uh just check to see if you did it or not when you're done at some
I
point.
don't. I must not have yet because it's definitely not like I've done a good amount of what that's on the app missions, right? The
Yeah.
Spider-Man app
Yeah.
missions. Because there's like 2 or 3 of those that I haven't done yet. One that I really did enjoy though is the one of like finding the old guy who's got kind of like the Alzheimer's thing going on,
Oh, the
and
grandfather?
the
Yeah, I like
grandfather,
that.
and like just that whole like talk about how like he's like he thought he'd be ready, but now that he's here, he's not. Like it was just real as hell, and not something I was expecting in the middle of a Spider-Man game side mission, which just really goes to speak to like how much care they put into this game, even down to the smallest, last, most minute side mission of helping somebody find their grandfather, like packs a punch.
And just being able to sit on the bench and talk to him about his wife and stuff was so cool.
Yeah, no, it
Um,
was tremendous. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to mention that side mission and I would not have
yeah.
remembered. But yeah,
Uh,
I'll literally hop right off and play that Howard one.
yeah, yeah. I recommend playing it as Peter just because it is one you can do as both. But since we have that connection with him in the first game, I feel
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
it
you
makes
find the
more
version
sense to be
for
Peter.
sure. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so that about wraps us up here. If there is ever DLC, love to have you back on, Ron, to talk about it.
Oh, dude.
When we
Yeah,
get through it.
yeah, you got me at this point. We're like I said, I just completed the Holy Trinity. So any time that there's something coming out, I'm on board.
Yeah, something I do want to get your thoughts on because I know you're an X-Men guy, right?
Mhm.
I do really want to do that idea of us building our own X-Men teams for like what we would do for the MCU. I think that would be great for the podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. I am
sometime
very,
post
very.
Loki.
Yeah. Once we see if there even is like a multiverse anymore, yeah, that will be very, very cool. I'm 100% on board for that.
Well, there you go. I got you to say that on the air, so we are locked in. Uh,
In the
but
ether.
you can follow this show at all of the look. I don't have a consistent tag on this one because it's so difficult to find.
It's like the
Um,
picture of Chris Jericho holding up the 1001
yeah,
holds that you were reading off all the
it's in
podcast.
the show notes below, and it's in your show notes on the app. If you want to follow us on Twitter, send us an email, all that good stuff. For Ron, you can reach him at it's all going to be in those notes too. I'm going to put it there. It's also on the screen if you're on the YouTube version. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Ron. Thanks for talking Spider-Man 2 with us.
Oh, dude, it was a blast. We've been going for almost 2 hours here between this and all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
And honestly, it just flew by. Like, it
it
was
did.
shocking to see that we've been talking for that long. So can't wait to do it again with you, brother.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh my God, it's 9:00. Flew by. But thank you all for watching and listening. We will catch you next time. Later this week, I'm talking, of course, Loki episode 5 of season 2. Regardless of that ending of the 4th episode, there is 2 more to go. So we will be talking 5 and 6 over the next 2 weeks here. I will be jumping on to talk the Marvels at some point. I have jury duty the day it drops. I don't know if I'm going that day or not. It's kind of sucks. Gonna be
Skip it. Take the $100 fine.
waiting to see if I'm even part of the trial or not, and if so, I'm gonna push it back even more on when I can go. So hopefully everything works out with that, and I can see this movie and jump on and talk about it because I'm looking forward to it. Ron, anything you want to plug? I know we mentioned before about the Pod Awakens on Thursday that hopefully this episode's up by then. If not, you can catch the replay of the Phantom Menace watch through.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was gonna add. It's at Jedi Genasi, Jedi GENASI on Twitter, TikTok. Come hang out. I post all kinds of good stuff on there. Y'all know me by now, so I'm not. Yeah, just go follow me over there. I don't know where the hell I was going with that. We've been talking for 2 hours here, so I'm just go follow me. I'll follow you back.
There you go. See, follow for a follow.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. So we'll catch you next time when we talk Loki episode 5 here on To the Infinity Saga and beyond.